Hey everybody, this is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 2nd. Hey, we're rolling closer and closer to the fall of the year, but it's not quite here yet. We're going to check in with our panel, our usual guys, to kind of see what they have to say about putting fish in your boat. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 2nd. Hey, real quick, don't forget, today is Casting for Cancer on Neely Henry Lake. If you're in the area, come on by and see the weigh-in. Well, let's see what's going on at Lake Guntersville with Tom Ott. Tom, what's happening on the big lake?
Hey, I tell you, Dano, this is the time of year right now where I think I wish I could say, go do this and go do that, and you're going to catch fish. But we've had such volatile weather here and stuff that and when I say volatile weather, I mean it's been extremely hot, but we've been getting rain that's come through the system, so we've gotten some current, things of that nature, and I really think it's so situational. We talked last week. I went out and I went flipping, and I just had a terrible time. I went out to the ledges and things kind of turned around for us, and that's the same thing that's going on. I mean, I think you're just going to have to pack all your rods in your rod locker box, go out there, and whatever Mother Nature's flinging at you, that's what you're going to have to go do. I mean, we had good water pulling last weekend. A lot of fish were caught. So, but it's definitely a situational thing. I mean, I'm having a real hard time nailing down those patterns of fish. They're moving a lot. There's a lot of bait that's coming into the grassy areas, into the bays and things like that. A lot more schooling activity we're starting to see, but it's still just a little on the fringe of just breaking open, and being fall again, I guess. And I think that, right now, your swim jigs are productive, your chatterbaits, things of that nature are starting to come along. They're not quite there yet. So, you can't quite play that fall bite, but you can still catch fish. You're just going to have to go out there and maybe throw a little frog, maybe do a little flipping, maybe get out on the ledge and, segregate your time somewhat to make that happen.
Sounds like I might be junk fishing 201, not quite 101. Junk fishing 201. Be ready to go anywhere. All right, what about the other species? Crappie, catfish, brim. You seen any striper activity?
Absolutely. We're starting to see a lot of those fish starting to come up to the surface and run around, and there's always some bass around that as well. But generally in your deeper creek areas, where you see those big, large wads of bait, that's where you'll have fish blow up in front of you, you'll have fish blow up behind you, and then off to the sides. And those are always fun, especially for the kids to get out there and catch a bunch of stripe. But as far as the crappie go, we're starting to see that progression back towards the causeways, the creeks, and things like that, where they're starting to move in, following that bait. I still think right now the best time to catch crappie is going to be your nighttime bite, probably from midnight till 4, something along those lines. But it's still, it's a great river system, and we're seeing a lot of floating grass, which makes it very frustrating to be out there.
Tom, as always, brother, we appreciate it. Thanks for the info. We'll talk to you again next week, man. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 2nd. Hey, we're going to be joined right here by Gentry Gordy, a resident expert on Lake Martin and on Jordan Lake. Gentry, what's going on in your area?
Well, I think it's going to be a little crowded this weekend, Dano, given the holiday. We'll start at Jordan. It's that time of year, Dano. If you can get up that river, not necessarily all the way up to the tail race. I mean, we know that always plays. But, just as the river narrows down up there where you still got some docks and seawalls and stuff like that, early in the morning, you're going to find that the bait is, possibly pushed up to those, like your seawalls or your bluff walls and stuff like that. So if you can get up there early enough and hit them with some type of walking bait or a spinner bait and just kind of work your way down as the sun comes up and it progresses, of course, that'll stop. But first thing in the morning, late in the afternoons, I would really check those bluff walls and, just inside of some of those cuts, like going up that river.
What kind of things are you talking about doing up there? Is it a swim bait deal? Or are you still talking about jigs? Or are we going to throw crank? What are we going to do?
In the morning time, early in the morning, late in the afternoon, I'm going to throw some type of walking bait, top water plug, or a spinner bait pretty quick. But as it heats up, I would back off, maybe slow that spinner bait down, your medium running crankbaits, and even, down to your little swim baits, spinning tackle. Find the bait.
Let's turn our attention to Lake Martin and what's happening there. I know people are going to be dodging some pleasure boaters, but what can they do to put a few fish in the boat?
Yeah, you definitely want to get out of there early, get up there early and get out there before lunchtime for sure. A lot of the same, Dano, of course, it's, the narrow river is not near as defined on Martin. But, inside of your deep pockets or, like small cuts, just off the river channel, of course, there's plenty of seawalls and stuff. It's just that time of year when that bait will push up early, even at Lake Martin. And you can get up there early and catch them. And, once that stops, you need to back off, look at some of your deeper docks, try to find some trash in that, as as it warms up, your trash piles, you need to start looking a little deeper and a little deeper as the day goes on. But 10 o'clock in the morning, they may be over a big trash pile in 6 foot of water, and then as it heats up, you just kind of move your way back and trash piles and seawalls and deep docks.
Sounds like fun. Little top water early, maybe all the way down to a shaky head and a jig late in the day. Gentry,
Absolutely.
Appreciate everything, man. We'll talk to you again next week, brother. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 2nd. Hey, don't forget to come on by Neely Henry Coosa Landing this afternoon and watch the weigh-in of the Casting for Cancer tournament. I'm sure this gentleman's going to be fishing out here today, but let's find out what Lee Pitts has to say about Neely Henry. Let's start there, Lee.
Neely's doing a little bit better this week. I've talked to a few guys that have been down there and catching some fish still on just a little straight worm, but you can get bit a little bit in the morning still on a frog. You got to slow it down. They're not really after that horny toad or something with a lot of speed to it. You got to kind of give them a chance to look at it, real good and come up there and just kind of suck it down. So, catching some fish still in the grass. Most it's just a grind getting on these shallow docks and just trying to peck around, and the key to it is finding the docks that have got a little bit of brush under them and maybe a little bit of current that hits on the edges or kind of sweeps through them. Seems to be what's holding more of the fish.
So it sounds to me like you want to look at the dock on the main river. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, pretty much. Every now and then you may slip up and catch a big one back in a pocket because it's just been left alone. It's easing there and it's been there all night and nobody's bothered it. But most of the fish kind of like to run in and out. They can jump up there and get in that shallow water, then roll back deep and just kind of don't have a long way to migrate, something close to that water.
Gotcha. Well, let's talk about Weiss Lake, your home. What's going on up there?
Weiss is still holding pretty good too. It's your typical summertime deal. It's not just an all-day slugfest, but you can get a topwater bite or two in the morning on some seawalls. And once again, that it's better to have it out there on the river, but in some of the secondary points or something like that, if you got a good seawall with 3 or 4 foot of water on it, it's going to hold some pretty good fish. And then you're just slowing down, flipping that wood cover and getting into these shallow docks and just kind of, just a slow day, but you're still catching some good fish doing it.
Are you able to cover water quickly, or are you going to have to kind of grind and let bait soak there around the docks?
You can tell you can cover water pretty fast what you're looking for. Those docks that's got the brush on it, if you make 2 or 3 pitches in there and everything's slick, you can speed on around it, but you got to let them look at it some. They're not just real aggressive when that bait hits the water and they've got it before it touches bottom. You gotta let them. It's kind of like cat and mouse deal. You got to let them look at it and get mad enough to want to go over and grab it.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. They want to hunker down a little bit this time of the year, but a little current couldn't hurt anything. Lee, brother, as always, man, we appreciate everything, and we'll talk to you again this week. Hope to see you Saturday.
All right, man. I'll see you this weekend, and we'll have some better news for next week.
Sounds good. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 2nd. Hey, we're caught up with Josh Herron. We're going to talk a little Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Josh, what's going on down there?
Man, we're just praying for fall. We're hoping for cooler weather. I am over Mother Nature's hot flashes. She can pack it up and go on. And it's still the same. It's still the same grind that the Coosa is. And there's fish to be caught, but it's a whole lot of suck at the moment. Water temps are really high. Flow's not great, so that's generally a bad combination. I mean, you can still run around like at Logan. You can do the shaky head deal. You can fish some docks, but it's just going to be pecking at them here and there. There's not a really good defined shallow bite right now, and most of these like wolf packs of spotted bass are out kind of roaming on bait.
What kind of depths are you seeing the bait that you could target that kind of stuff?
25 to 30. I mean, this bait gets really deep this time of year. The easiest way to figure out how deep the bait is on a given day is when you idle out into the river channel. Look at where the thermocline is on your graph, and that's generally your money number. is within 5 to 10 feet of that thermocline line. That's going to be our
Yep,
coolest portion
absolutely.
of water in the river. Lay's setting up a lot the same way. Even the largemouth are kind of out roaming right now. You can catch a couple shallow. It's not to say you can't. It's just these fish, they get pounded on constantly, and when it gets really hot like this and we get a lack of flow, it kind of pushes everything out. So easiest way to kind of set up on these fish is start looking anywhere that you're going to have big current seams. When we do have current, these fish are going to be 100 yards either way of it. That way they can position to feed kind of quickly.
So it's just a matter of finding where you've caught current fish in the past and kind of being near that, shaky head, maybe a jig, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when this current on the Coosa, it's their dinner bell. When they turn it on,
Yep.
they know exactly where to be. So they generally, I mean, it's still a high percentage area. They just kind of get out and wander around.
Gotcha. Well, Josh, as always, brother, we appreciate everything. We'll talk to you again next week, man.
All right, buddy.
Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 2nd. Don't forget, hey, we're at the Casting for Cancer tournament today at Neely Henry, right there at Coosa Landing. Come on by and see us. Thanks to the guys for everything that they do to put a few more fish in our boats. And come see us at the shop. We're there for all your boats, parts, service, and tackle needs. Come see us. We love having you. You are the best part of Bucks Island, and you are appreciated.